Hello everybody, I'm going to show you how to make this vintage bunny cookie frame. You need to start with medium consistency icing, a number 2 nozzle. Outline the inside portion of your egg-shaped cookie. Once that is finished, outline right up against the border the scalloped edge, using the same icing and the same nozzle. With a tipless bag filled with flood consistency icing, fill in the 2 sections that you just piped. Use your scribe tool to remove any air bubbles and then allow the outside frame to dry for 8 to 12 hours. With stiff consistency icing and a petal tip, pipe a ruffled edge for the bottom portion of the smocking of our bunny's dress. Now overpipe the ruffled edge so you have 2 ruffles. Switch your bag to a soft consistency tipless bag and begin piping the bunny starting with the inner ear. Continue to dimensionally pipe the bunny, being mindful that you do not pipe a section that is directly next to a section you just previously piped. You need to wait for each section to crust before you can pipe the one next to it. Use the scribe tool as necessary to help you coax the icing into place. Once your bunny is completely piped, allow her to dry for about 8 hours. With soft icing, stipple the bunny. You're going to want to use a pouncing motion going up and down with your tipless bag, and then have a square brush, a stiff square brush nearby, so that you can pounce that brush as well to add even more texture to the stippling. Be mindful to not stipple the dress or the bunny's inner ears. Using stiff consistency green icing, attach the roses and then pipe leaves in between the roses using a back and forth motion. To pipe the filigree, you want to start with heavy pressure and hold the tip in place, allowing a bead to build up. Then swirl around and release your pressure as you finish the swirl. Now pipe 2 tiny swirls inside the first filigree we just piped. Repeat this motion going in the opposite direction. Once again, starting with heavy pressure, let the bead build up. Once that has happened, then swirl around. Release your pressure as you finish the swirl. Finally, put 2 little filigree swirls inside the second swirl we just piped. Continue piping this design, keeping in mind that the swirls that you are piping will always be piped in the opposite direction of the one it was connected to previously. Allow the cookie to dry for 20 minutes. Now we need to paint our bunny. Using pink food paste, begin painting the inside of the bunny's ears. Using several hues of yellow and yellow-brown, we're going to build up the color of the bunny's body. You'll want to start with the lightest hue and then end with the darkest tone. That way we will have highlight and shadow, which will then give us dimension and movement. To paint the bunny's dress, I've chosen to use a very light ivory color. Later on, when we go to add the darkest tones into the dress, we'll have a nice vintage look because we started off with this very light tone. We need to add just a touch of color so that there is some pop to our bunny. I've chosen to go with a lavender color. It matches well with all the other colors we're working with. You'll want to paint this color on the sleeves and the inside portion of the dress underneath the smocking. Load a very small round brush with that lavender color and gild the ruffles of each sleeve and the bottom portion of the dress. It appears I forgot to tell you to paint the little bow tie on the left side with the lavender color as well. We need to add our darkest tone, or to paint our darkest tone onto her dress. We're going to use brown for that color. And you're going to want the most concentrated color to be in the deepest crevices of the creases and lighter on the folds. You also want to be mindful that all you're doing is adding in a dark tone or a shadow. You do not want to accidentally turn the smocking portion of her dress brown. Using pink food paste, paint the bunny's nose and then blush her cheeks with the same pink color, using a round motion as you paint the cheeks. For her eyes, I'm using the cap of my black extra from Sugar Flare to load my brush so I don't have too much color on my brush. Then I'm going to stay on the toe of my brush as I paint the bunny's eyes. We need to paint our roses. Each grouping of roses has 2 yellow roses and 1 purple. You'll want more color towards the butt of the rose and less color on the petals on the outside. To paint the leaves, we're again using 3 different hues and tones to build up the color of our leaves to give it a realistic and natural appearance. All the supplies and colors that I'm using will be listed in the description box below. For the final detail, we need to add polka dots to the smocking portion of the bunny's dress. You'll want to load a very small round brush and stay up on the toe of that brush as you paint in each individual little polka dot. Thank you for joining me for this tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it. If you would like to see the longer version of this tutorial, it is available on my online workshops. I will leave the link in the description box below.